We were discussing the Constitution of India. I think we came up to 51A, fundamental duties. Now, let us proceed to the next stage or step of the Indian Constitution. Article 52 to Article 62 of the Indian Constitution talks about the President of India. Very important. What are his powers? How he is elected? How he should be impeached in the case of wrong behavior? What are his emoluments? How long does he retain office? What are his powers? And generally, what are the powers of the parliament with regards to the president? These are the things that are discussed from Article 52 to Article 62 of the Indian Constitution. Let me just check it up again. Article 52, yes, starts with the Indian Constitution. It goes, starts with talking about the president. Yes, perfectly said. Article 52 to Article 62 of the Indian Constitution talks about the President's office, the most important executive power center of the functioning of the government. It's an executive post. Just like any executive post, he has got veto power, the ability to make decisions, the ability to vote, even overturn observations of some lower level governmental machinery. He needs approval of many things. He can remove any minister from office without the consent of the prime minister. He can recommend to the prime minister that the such and such minister should be removed for these reasons. So he has executive powers. The president, when he makes the council of ministers, he must get the approval of the president. The president is the one who administers oath of office to ministers. These are certain things, subtle things, which come to my mind. And the president himself has to take an oath of office, which is administered to him by the Chief Justice of India. Article 52 of the Constitution says the country must have a president. Then let us go to the 53, Article 53 of the Constitution. I think it's better if I slightly read it because it talks about the executive powers of the Union, executive power of the President, and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution. Article 53 of the Constitution, 53(1) says he enjoys executive powers, which means he has got certain say in all affairs of the state because he is an executive power. Article 51, 53, sorry, 53(2). Without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing provision, the supreme command of the defense forces of the Union shall be vested in the President, and the exercise thereof shall be regulated by law. Very important. The exercise thereof shall be regulated by law, which means he is the head of the defense forces. But the president also comes under certain constitutional provisions. We should go into that in more detail about what are his powers in law. Because he cannot summarily say no to some observations or some requests that come to him from the government. Suppose we have to wage a war, then I think there is an presidential consent needed for it. But there is a time limit. That's why it says a law. You can always get the president's consent post facto. These are all certain issues, but generally he is the head of the defense forces. He can question the activities, and because he's the head of the defense forces of the country. That's the most important thing. Uh, Okay. You must understand that also the parliament by itself has not got sweeping powers over the president. President is definitely superior to parliamentary activities, but definitely please understand that in the event of any misconduct from the part of the president, There is a parliamentary procedure in which can be used to remove the president if the charges against him are very serious. Now let us go to the Article 54 of the Indian Constitution, which says election of the president. Very important. The president shall be elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of elected members of both houses of parliament. Elected members of both houses of parliament. The elected members of the legislative assemblies of the state. The elected members of the legislative assemblies of the state. Now, this is a very important thing of both houses, both elected members of both houses. That means both the houses, both in the center and in the state, are involved in the electoral college that ultimately elects a president. A president is elected by the electoral college. The electoral college consists of elected members of both the houses of both the center and the state center parliament and the state legislatures. Wonderfully said. So you understand how the president has selected Article 54 of the Constitution. Manner of election of the president, as far as possible practicable, there shall be a uniformity in the scale of representation of the different states in the selection of the president. Shall be uniformity in the scale of representation. Now there is a mathematical formula that is followed here in the creation of the electoral college. You must understand one thing, as far as I understand. The scale of representation. That's a very nice statement that is given here. The scale of representation. For all practical purposes, it is important, which means that any state can be given extra votes in case their population is not fully represented. That is the meaning of this. Suppose there are two states. Both states have 5 crore population because population keeps changing with every 5 years. And one state has got, I'm just telling hypothetically, 400 electoral college votes. While the other state, though they have the same population 5 crore, has got only 370. 30 extra votes can be given to that state, or electoral college votes can be given to the state. How it is distributed, that maybe the governor of the concerned state will come into picture. But please understand that every 5 years the population changes, and that's what he says, scale of representation. But please understand that electoral college, you should go through the process, constitutional process. Only if you are a hands-on working that, you will understand exactly how it works. But generally it talks of scale of representation, which simply means that if two states have the same kind of population, the number of electoral college votes which these two states must have should be uniform. In case they are not uniform, some adjustments must be made. How it is made, it is the choice of the concerned electoral process. Now, that is the manner of selection of the president. Article 56 of the Indian Constitution. Term of office of the president. The president shall hold office for a term of 5 years. He enters upon his office term for 5 years, exactly 5 years. If I enter the president's office on 6th of June on some given year, take the 6th of June from 5 years from now, the president has to demit office. The term is for 5 years. Now there are certain other things. This Article 56 of the Constitution says certain other riders. The president may resign by giving a letter to the vice president that I don't want to be president anymore. The president may, for violation of the Constitution, be removed from office. Article 56 of the Constitution. The president shall, notwithstanding the term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. That means, very important statement. Very important statement. If you are on, as I told, if you are the president on the person, because the president, the 6th of June of a given date, he has to demit office on 6th of June of the after 5 years. In case the electoral process becomes delayed by 10 days, this concerned present president can continue as a president until the new president joins office. Now, eligibility. Article 57 of the Constitution. Who can be president? A person who holds or who has held the office of president shall. Article 57 talks for re-election. Can the president be re-elected? The constitution be eligible for re-election to the office. A person who holds or who has held the office of president of India shall, subject to other provisions in the constitution, eligible for re-election. President can stand for re-election. Again, he can say he wants to be re-elected. In the history of the Indian presidency, I don't think there was any president which was re-elected. Anyway, please check up the matters, facts of the matter, at least in my memory. Now, Article 58 of the Constitution says qualification for election as president. Now, no person can be a president until he follows Article 58(1). He is a citizen of India. President of India should be a citizen of India. He must be 35 years of age and is qualified for election as a member of the House of the People. That means he must have he has basic qualification for election as member. That means he must have basic qualification to member of parliament. That's what it means. Now, conditions of the president's office. The president shall not hold any other office of profit when he is serving. Shall not be a member of. He shall not be a member of. He should not be an MP, member of either houses of the parliament. He is entitled to free house accommodation and other perks. Nowhere the parliament can diminish the emoluments which are given to the president. Through any kind of parliamentary action, the emoluments given to the president cannot be diminished by parliament. Very well written in this constitution. Now, Article 60 of the Constitution, oath of affirmation of the President. Every President and every person acting as President or discharging the functions of the President shall, before entering upon the office, make and subscribe to in the presence of Chief Justice of India or in his absence, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court available, the oath of affirmation of the office, whatever it means. The oath of office shall be administered to him. If anyone acting president must take this oath. If the Chief Justice of India is not available, senior most judge must administer the oath. That's the legal procedure of the president. Now, Article 61 of the Constitution says a president can be impeached. He can be removed from office. Constitution of India, the charge shall be preferred by either House of the Parliament. Shall be no such charge shall be preferred unless. Now, what it simply means is that Article 61 of the Constitution, if a charge of the president is a charge of the president, that means the charge must be brought in front deliberation in front of both the houses of the Parliament, and the impeachment process must be voted with two-thirds majority. If two-thirds majority is obtained in Parliament for impeachment motion, then the president can be impeached. Of course, there are other legal procedures involved in it, and even the legal system will come into picture. Offices of the Attorney General and like that. But impeachment possible in case the president is guilty of a serious misdemeanor. Now, Article 62 of the Constitution. An election to fill the vacancy caused by the other day of the president shall be completed before the expiry term of the president. Very important. That's the final article of president. That means before if 6th of June, the president has to demit office. 6 months before, the electoral process of the president must be started and a new president must be elected through the constitutional procedure mentioned. Beautiful thing, but it's enough for most of you to remember that in the Indian Constitution, Article 52 to 62, for all practical purposes, describes the office of the president. The president, to become president with 35 years of age, must be eligible to be elected to the House of Parliament. You must not hold any office of profit. These are all certain conditions for eligibility of president. Now, the president is the supreme commander of the defense forces. Most important thing, President of India must be citizen of India. Very important one thing. You must be a citizen of India. If you're not a citizen of India, you cannot be, you cannot compete to be the president. President is the head of the absolute head of the defense forces. Of course, his actions can be are under the overall view of certain legal procedures. President's oath of office will be given to Chief Justice. The president can be removed or impeached for wrong conduct by two-thirds majority of both the houses. The president of India, as I told, is head of the defense forces. Now, these are all certain things, certain facts or certain aspects of the president. The president is selected by electoral college. The electoral college consists of elected representatives of both the houses of the in the center and in the state legislatures. And it's also important that certain norms and rules are formed to ensure uniformity with respect to the population of the given state. Now, most important thing, if the president resigns from office, he has to give resignation to vice president of India. That he resigns from office. By default, the vice president of India would act as the president of India. Of course, he has to take an oath of the president of India. Now, I think I have to a large extent told what is the office of the president of India. For all practical purposes, this is enough. You must understand that he is the most important executive power of the country. And these are the general features or certain aspects about President of India. Thank you. This is P.O. Subhash from Bangalore, India.